In this video, I'm going to review how sub-accounts work, and I'm going to do it by showing you what each different types of users can do with their sub-accounts, starting with administrators. So this is the highest level of user that can change subscription details as well as make billing changes. And administrators can also manage sub-accounts. That means they can create and delete sub-accounts. So I'm logged in here as an administrator, and I can see in this drop-down all the sub-accounts that are assigned to this account. And I can go view all, and it shows me all the sub-accounts there are. I can create new sub-accounts. I can delete sub-accounts, and I can just click on any one of these to log into that sub-accounts to view the activity within that sub-account. So I have full access to adding and removing sub-accounts. In terms of user access, because I'm an administrator, I can create users and assign them to have access to as many sub-accounts as I want. If I go to the users list here, there's all the users under the organization, and I can see which sub-account each of the users have access to, what their roles are. And if I click on one of these users, it will show me details about this individual, and I can update here their permissions. On one hand, I can change their role. So if I want them to become a different type of user to have access to different functionality, I can change their role here. And these roles are what's described on this chart here, so I can pick and choose what functionality I want that person to have access to. And down below, I can assign this person to have access to one or more sub-accounts. So by default, they only access one sub-account, and sometimes that's all that's needed. They should never be able to break out of that account, or I can give them access to multiple accounts, and they'll be able to switch between those accounts. So that I can do as an administrator. Also, for security settings, as an admin, if I go to the security page, all these settings here about password length and expiry settings, multi-factor authentication, single sign-on, all these settings will apply to all sub-accounts that I manage for the organization. And another thing I can do as an administrator is branding. If I go to the account settings page, go to branding, and down there where it says colors and fonts, administrators have an option here to apply these predefined colors and fonts to all sub-accounts, and then I can choose whether or not to overwrite what's already there. And if that's selected, then anything in any sub-accounts will get these settings. Or if sub-accounts customize their own branding already, and I don't want to override that, then I just leave this blank, and that way these settings will only be applied to the sub-accounts that did not yet add their own colors and fonts. So this is what I can do as a full-on administrator. So now let's have a look at what a sub-account administrator can do. All right, so now I am logged in as a sub-account administrator. So this is the second level of user type here. Sub-account administrators cannot update subscription plan and billing settings, and they cannot add or remove sub-accounts. So when I'm logged in here as this user, I don't see a list of sub-accounts anymore. I can only access the one that I was given access to. But within this sub-account, I can do anything. For example, if I go to the list of users, I can see all the users that have access to my sub-account that I'm administering, and I can add more users, but these users I'm adding will be restricted to only access the account that I'm the administrator of. And when I go to a user preferences page, sub-account administrators can still change permissions, but I cannot change the permissions to make this person an administrator. So all these users are going to be a lower level access than I am as a sub-account administrator. And also for their accounts, this panel that was there for administrators, that's missing for sub-account admins, because as a sub-account admin, I'm not able to give this user permission to access other sub-accounts. For the security settings, if I go to the same page that we saw a few minutes ago, sub-account admins don't have a security tab because it's the top level administrators that control security settings. If I go to branding, and I go back to this same place we looked at just a few minutes ago, I can control branding for my own account, but there isn't an option to propagate these branding controls to other sub-accounts within the organization. In other words, everything that I do is limited to the sub-account that I'm working on. And in terms of all other users, they also can only access the sub-accounts they were given access to, but they have a much more limited role to have access to a more limited set of features as displayed in this chart.